offenders confined in correctional facilities are always confronted by different challenges that become a huge obstacle to a crime-free lifestyle. One of the major challenges is acceptance by the society and for the offender to swiftly reintegrate into the community. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Transforming Families. My name is Faith Kaulu, and today we are advocating for the reintegration of ex-convicts because prisoners are human as well. Now, reintegration is defined as the action or process of integrating someone back into the society. But let's narrow it down to today's topic. In this case, reintegration is the long-drawn process of transition from imprisonment into the mainstream society. Now, this whole process is a difficult one to both parties included. As much as the offender requires all the support and love from the family, most families are always grappling with the fact that one of them was a lawbreaker.
It is actually very difficult to accept that a member of our family killed a girlfriend, or even killed a wife, or even killed children. It is difficult, very difficult, or even raped a child. You know, those things that society looks at and society is not able to understand. How on earth would you be doing that? Where were your morals? Where were your beliefs? Where were your values? Hadn't we taught you to be responsible and to respect other people within community? So families are angry, frustrated, ashamed, stressed, because even them, society points a finger at them and says, you are the ones who are wrong, you didn't parent properly, you are not a good family. And therefore the shame also goes to the family.
Now, despite it being a difficult process for the family, psychologists have revealed that acceptance is always a very important factor in helping the offender reintegrate swiftly and avoid recidivism.
Just being there and connecting with the children and telling the children, don't do the things that I did as your mother, don't do the things that I did as your father, becomes an opportunity for the children to be able to learn, to be different and to act differently, and to be able to cleanse generations to come of some of the things that are committed by people coming from particular families. So I would want to say that affording that opportunity gives a continuity to the boarding, to the union, to the coexistence, to the cohesion within the family. Even if one of them is separated and is in jail, there is that continuity, and it also stops something we call recidivism. Recidivism is going back to the jail again and again. What makes people go back to jail again and again? Because they feel rejected. They feel they are not important. They feel they are worthless. They feel in the family they don't have a place. They don't have a sense of belonging. And therefore, why go back to family where they are not important?
Reverend David Kituku, who works with Christian Leadership Institute in Minnesota and beyond, is involved in prison ministry and the process of integration of offenders and criminals into the society.
My name is Reverend David Kituku. I'm a born-again Christian and a preacher of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I work with an institution called CLIMB, Christian Leadership Institute, Minnesota and beyond. And majorly, we do training, and particularly I'm much involved in training in the prisons. I've been doing it for the last 14 years, since 2006. When the Lord called me and He gave me clear direction to go and minister to the prisoners. So ever since, I've been quite involved in all that, and I've really seen much transformation of what the Lord can do with prisoners, just like any other person. They need Christ, they need to be loved, they need a shoulder to lean on, They need somebody to talk to, they need somebody to listen to them, and they also need somebody to encourage them. So I come in handy and I fellowship with them, I listen to their stories, then I build a rapport with them, and I introduce Christ. And I've really seen the light of Christ shining in their hearts, and I'm glad to testify that I've seen much transformation with many of them. So I can mention there are thousands and thousands of them that I've been able to encounter for those 14 years.
A process that begins right before the prisoner is released and continues until the offender is independent and accepted by the society.
We majorly involve ourselves in 3 main things: the rehabilitation part of it. While the prisoners are still in the prison, we also get involved with reconciliation, which is a major factor to the third part of it. And the third part of it is the reintegration. So in rehabilitation, we train these people on the basic life skills that they need to know, and majorly Bible training, but we also encourage the prisoners to get involved with the opportunities that are there in the prisons. Prison is a wonderful place, I must say. It's a place that you can acquire much skills that possibly they are not out here, and you acquire them for free, and they are very excellent. And so we encourage them to join the Bible, and we also encourage them to involve themselves into the programs that the prison facilities are offering. And then as we see the people that have transformed from within, we now involve them in the reconciliation process. Now the reconciliation process is not an easy one, because I need to listen to this individual, what he did. Did he offend the society? Did he offend the nuclear family? Or did he offend, or who did he really offend? Because that is where the problem really began. And we also need to do the tracing of the relatives. That involves a lot of money. We need to travel to their villages where they came from, and also talk to the relatives to see the receptibility. So I engage the relatives right in their villages, right in their homes. I tell them the transformation that I've seen in their dad, or in their brother, or in their relative. And it takes much time to convince them. Men are so hard in forgiving, I must admit that. But in one way or the other, some are touched and they want to come and visit their fellow brother or their relative in the prison, and I encourage that. And I want to thank God because of the prison facilities. Many of them are opening doors for the reconciliation process. So I bring in the relatives in the prison, then we have an open forum with them and with their relative, and we engage them into the process of reconciliation. It's normally a painful process. There is so much sobbing and crying, but we encourage that as part of therapy to heal their hearts, both the prisoner, the offender, and the offended person. And the first day you may not achieve much, so you need to organize maybe like 3 sessions. And after that, now they see, okay, there is that transformation. Then they release the forgiveness and all that. Once it happens, then you can now start planning the process of reintegration once the prisoner finishes his term or is ready to go back again to the society.
Now, the whole process of reintegration and acceptance is not always an easy one. In his line of work, Reverend David has experienced a lot of cases where the community rejects an ex-convict to an extreme of even wanting him dead.
I remember I handled a case of an ex-prisoner from Meru. And once I tried to do the tracing and call in the relatives, immediately they heard the name of that inmate. They said, repeat the name. I repeated the name and they said, oh, tell him that the tire that we wanted to set him ablaze is still on that tree. So let him not even dare come to the village. And that was a very hostile reception. And the prisoner was about to be released. So we had now to counsel him, we had to talk to him, we had to advise him, please, once you are released, don't go home. Maybe you can come to a place like Nairobi. We can find a place for you, you start living your life and just establish yourself and trust God to give you a home, or a society that you can live well. That's another case. I remember another one that we went for reconciliation. And once they heard that we are now coming, they blocked all the roads. And they came out with arrows. Thank God we had gone with the prison officers and they were armed. So once they were ready to shoot us, then the prison staff pointed out the guns to them and they told them, we have come here not for war, we have come here for peace because we have your son and he has been released. We wanted to bring him to you, and if you are not ready to receive him, then we can go back together with him. So we were able to convince the old man to accept us, but he only accepted us for that day. And after we left the son there, the son, they wanted to kill the son that very night when we left. So he sneaked out and then he called us. So we had to send him money to come back again to Nairobi at night. And we are still having him, and he's living his life here in Nairobi. And thank God he's a committed Christian. Yeah, he's finding our peace, but we are still doing some effort to reach out to the family to accept him back. So there are so many countless hostile reception that we have met from the people once the prisoners have been released from prison. It really, really affects them, because the last person that you really want to lose is your relative, your parents, your kinsmen, the people who know you better. You want to embrace them once you have been released from the prison. So it really tortures their mind, it really torments them. Some even decide even to commit suicide, because if I'm rejected by the very people that should accept me, then where else should I go? So it's so traumatizing to them, and it's the worst thing that I really don't expect from the society. So it's so tormenting.
Dominic Kivuva, an ex-convict who is now free, shares his story with us. Dominic was arrested in 2016 for robbery and got born again while in Kamiti Maximum Prison.
My name is Dominic Kivuva Mwambi. I came from Makueni County, Water Division, Malivani Village. I was born in 1956 at a place called Malivani. I joined my primary school in 1965 up to 1971. Well, it's when I set for my CPE. I joined Form 1 at Adriva High School in 1972 up to 1976. No, 72, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's when I did my O-level. Then from there I started working. I've worked with Minister of Agriculture partly. I've worked with the different companies as salesmen. I've also worked with the different companies as a lab technicians. I've worked with many companies. I had also started, I had my own businesses from 1980 to 1988. I was doing my own business. Then from there is when I started buying stolen goods. That was from 1988. And as I continued buying stolen goods, is when I came to learn, and in fact, I just come to find, to like the way they are bringing those goods to me. So I decided to start to join them. So that, because when I go with them in whatever they are doing, at the end of the day, I want more money, because they will bring to me, I will buy from them, and also I'll have a share there inside. That's how I started stealing, and that's how it began. Yes, I had a family, wife and 3 children, and okay, in 1982, we separated with my wife. I was left with the 3 children, up to now. And in 2016, as I continued doing that business of stealing, anyway, in 2016, I was arrested and charged with 4 robberies and 1 assault. So from that time, I've been to committee up to 2021 January.
We're taking a very short break right here on Transforming Families, but don't go too far, because when we come back, we will hear more of Dominic's story and how the reintegration process was for him, so keep it tuned.
Did you know that Eden Health and Immune Booster is suitable for the whole family? Here are testimonials from beneficiaries of Eden.
This is the drug that has been able to change my child. After having suffered for almost 3 to 4 years without even being able to get the answer.
Eden ni dawa na imesaidia mtoto wangu kwa autism.
Nobody knows about lupus. But let me say, when I took Eden is the time I realized my body has changed.
We decided as a family to give it a try. It has worked for us. We are very happy.
This medicine have prolonged the life of our mother.
Kwa sababu hata mwenye kutengeneza hizo ndawa, labda sijui kama alikuwa akijua kitu gani anafanya. Labda ni Mungu alimtuma.
Call us on 0721 755 755 or 0707 180 266 to make your orders and inquiries.
The Presbyterian University of East Africa, Pwea, in conjunction with the sponsor Presbyterian Church of East Africa, PCA, will be holding a special Thanksgiving service this Sunday, 14th of March 2021, to celebrate the award of charter. Pwea was awarded a charter on Wednesday, 2nd December the year 2020 by His Excellency Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. The charter has renewed Pwea's determination to become a global center of knowledge, science, innovation and research. The Thanksgiving service will provide a great opportunity to thank God and congregate with friends and partners who work together with the university during the long journey towards the award of the charter. The theme is Far the Lord Has Been Our Ebenezer. The function will be held at the University Graduation Square, Thogoto, starting from 9 a.m. COVID-19 containment measures will be adhered to. Tune in to CAC TV on Signet, CAC TV on Facebook and CAC TV on YouTube to fellowship with us.
To me, it was a very, very, very bad experience, because I didn't think whether that's what they do. I thought, to me, it was like, I didn't like it anyway. But finally, I had to join them. I recruited very many of them, and in fact, they gave me a title of Mwalimu, because I told many about the business. One thing I would like you to know is that a thief does not start just instantly. He must have passed through those things. So before he comes to you, he's aware of what he's coming for. Very unfortunately, I would say 99.5% of them, they are all dead. Very sad. Very sad. I regret much. Yes. The experience I have when I was at committee is that committee is a good place. It's very interesting, eh? Because if at all you will know three things, you'll be very comfortable in a committee. One, if you know who you are, what you have in yourself, and what you want to be. Actually, it was not, to me, I would say committee is a good place for somebody who is ready to change. Because there are many things there which can make you change. We have many things, let's say for instance, like my mentor here, he used to come to committee, preach to us, teach us. He's a Bible school teacher, and that's how I learned much about God, or let me say more about God, and it changed my life. Because I came to know that I'm created by God with His image and His likeness. So I have the image of God, and in me there is likeness of God, and I want, I want to be like Him, because that's the will of God. So when I learned that, I was comfortable. I learned, I did many theological Bible schools. I got so many diplomas and even associate degree, and I was very comfortable. But in a committee is the place where the devil has his main base. If you don't know who you are, or you don't know God, committee is the worst place. That's why I mentioned about three things: knowing who you are, knowing what is in you, and knowing what you want to be. If you combine those things, they will bring you to salvation. Yes. So if you don't know God, you come out from committee a moving dead, because there is this called what do you call this stuff? Ikichuri, this white sugars and what do you call it? It's smoked there. Drugs. Yeah, drugs. Yeah, let me say drugs. They are smoked there in a way that even outside there they are not smoked that way. They are there in plenty. Okay, about there are things, you people, you are media, and there are other things to mention. they bring, they don't work well. Yeah. There are many things there which can destroy somebody, yeah, if you are not known to God. If you don't have intimacy with God, there are many things to ruin you. And actually, I would say 95% of inmates at committee, they are lost. Because if there is anywhere where there is what do you call this, hedge, it is that place. And if anybody from a committee can challenge me, he can come out and challenge me, because it's the truth. It is the truth. I think 95% of committee inmates, those who are not saved, and even some who now they are saved, but before they got saved, they entrenched themselves in those things. They are sick. Yeah, hates in the committee. It's there.
Now, through Reverend David's ministry, Dominic gave his life to Christ while in prison. However, in the beginning, the journey wasn't easy for him. Dominic thought that his life has come to an end.
To me, it was like it's the end of the journey. Yeah, because committee, as it is known, is a place whereby if you hear the name, you just think that you are gone, you are finished. That's what's come to my mind. And in fact, I would like to say, even parents, they should teach their children and they could always be near to them, talk to them, counsel their children, and tell them the truth about life. Because, you know, when you let your child grow up, not knowing there is committee and what happens in the committee, even though you might not be aware, but it's good at times to tell them the dangers of joining Kagari. Because there is death, there is... In the committee, there are people who have 30 years, 40 years there. They have been there. And let me tell you, in the committee, you cannot see trees like this one. What you see is only skies. It's a very tall wall. When you see an eagle flying just over here, you just wonder, you see everybody looking at it. They saw as if it is something funny. Because you don't see outside, you don't see anything. So, while you are in those wars, you have mental torture. And people there, they are really tortured. They are tortured mentally. The askaris of committee, they don't beat anybody. They are so friendly. They don't bother with anybody. They open the doors at 6. Just go wherever you want to go. Nobody will bother you. But the wars themselves will bother you. Because it will give you mental torture. Yes. So the advice I can give is that parents and even young boys and girls, they should not dare joke with crime. Because the crime will take them to a place whereby their life will be ruined. Because there are people who have been there, who went to commit when they were young. They are now old. They are 50 years, 60 years. They are there. And they are still condemned. They don't know when they'll come out from there. They don't have families. Somebody went there when he was 18, 17, 19, 20. They are there up to now. So they have been there for 30 years, 40 years.
Now, Dominic kept in touch with his family while in prison. It is the community acceptance and warm welcome that filled him with anxiety. However, with the help of Reverend David Kituku, the journey seemed easy and bearable enough.
Dominic's case was a special case because he didn't really offend the immediate family members, but partly the neighborhood, because, you know, as you have heard, he was recruiting, and some of the people that he was recruiting are from the neighborhood. So the neighbors were a bit offended because their sons or their fathers or their brothers were shot dead by the police in the line of their duty as they were doing the operation. And so the greater obstacle was how to bring in the neighborhood to accept him and also to forgive him. So we had to talk to them. The family members were not such a big problem, even though we never ignored them. We used to organize forums, so now they can come in and they can also greet their dad and their brother and have a family reconciliation. That was not a big task. So for the neighborhood, we had to organize for a special program on the reintegration. So once Dominic was released, we decided to take him home, and before then we had to alert the local administration and the church so that they may come, and then we have like a ceremony, a homecoming ceremony. But our main target was the neighbors. So we had to set a forum on how we can talk to the neighbors, convince them that this man is not the old man that you used to know. He's not the mwalimu that as you used to call him. He's now a changed person. The light of Christ has shone in his heart. He's a new creature. The old is gone. He's a new person. And you have stayed with him for 4 years. We have seen what the Lord has done in his life. He's a different person. Please accept him. And please find a place in your heart to forgive him. And I want to thank God because the neighborhood was so receptive, though some of them were a bit hesitant to do it. But we sat down with them, we prayed with them, we talked to them, and they decided to forgive him, and many of them embraced him, and we thank God for such an occasion.
What happened is that when I was released, as I was talking with my mentor here, Pastor Kituko, is my Bible teacher, we organized for welcoming home party, and we had a wonderful day. Many people attended, and relatives, neighbors. Not that they hated me, but they just wanted to come and confirm, because they were aware that I got saved and I became a preacher. So many of them, I understand, they came to witness whether it is true. And we had about 10 pastors there who came from different churches. So we had a very wonderful time there with the neighbors, friends, and even some of the friends I didn't know them, but they came. So it was a wonderful day. It was a wonderful day.
From his own experience and journey, Dominic now advocates for the acceptance of ex-convicts into the community, as well as encourage ministers of the word to visit prison, for it is through one of the prison's ministration that his life was changed.
If there is anything worse they are doing is to try to, to fail to allow that convict to join them. That person needs mercy. That person needs, committee convict needs love. Committee convicts needs to be shown the way. Because for the years he has been in committee, he has been confined in one place. So you understand, as a mankind is not to be confined in one place. Animals, you can confine it in one place, but mankind, no. He loves mental torture. And actually he will change. The more he continues staying there, his mind will change. So he needs mercy. He needs love. He needs care. So when they refuse, they fail to welcome those people, they are doing one of the worstest things a human being can do. Yeah, so they should welcome them and even assist them. Because when you come from committee, you have nothing. You have nowhere to sleep. You have no beddings. You have no house. You have totally nothing. So you need to be assisted. Yeah, in all ways, you need to be assisted. So that's what they should be doing to them. And you know, God is love. God loves everybody. So when you love that person, if you read Matthew 25:44, it says, I was in prison. You did not visit me. I was in hospital. You did not visit me. And this is Jesus who was saying so. So that person who is in prison needs to be visited. We can symbolize that with love. In other words, it needs to be loved. You see? So when you are feeling to welcome him, it's like you are denying Jesus. All right? And you know, Jesus came for sinners. He did not come for the right people, the righteous people. So that person, even though he sinned, even though he did bad things, he needs to be shown, to be loved. Because Jesus loved us up to the extent of giving his life because of us. So we should extend that love to such people. Yeah. And I'm talking about even financially, materially. Yes. And also counseling. Because somebody from committee needs counseling, honestly. I've been here for 4 years and 9 months. But somebody from committee, because there are those who take long there, 30 years, 40 years, 20 something, blah, blah, blah. So they need love and counseling. But you see, when you chase him away, or you just organize for people's mandamano, you see, you are not helping that person. Yes. So they should welcome them. Mankind, one thing you should know, God is love. And God loves everybody. And Jesus came for sinners. Even though those people in the community, they sin, yes, they did bad to society. But still they need to be loved, because Jesus still loves them. And if Jesus did not love me, I could not even be sitting here with you, talking about Jesus Christ. You see? So, if he did not come to preach to me at committee, if he did not waste his time uses finances and what have you. You see, I could not have known Jesus Christ, but because of his love, I can now stand, I can sit with you here, talking of Jesus Christ, and telling you that Jesus Christ loves people, even those who are in a committee, and everybody, because he died for them. So let's Kenyans, and especially preachers, and also Kenyans of well-wishers, visit people of committee. Take whatever, spare your little money, buy soap, spare your little money, buy toilet papers, spare your little money, buy a toothpaste, take to them their committee. They need you, I mean, to be loved materially. You see, because actually in the committee you are not given soaps, we are not given such things. So you can see the type of the life if you don't have somebody who visits you, how you live. So what I can advise Kenyans is that they share their love with those beloved brothers. They are our brothers, even though they did bad to community. They are our brothers and they are our sisters. And they need our love materially and also spiritually. And they continue praying for them. And also pastors, they should go there, preach to those people. Because that is part of the Great Commission which Jesus commanded us to do. Yeah, because the people are there. The sheep are there. They need to be preached to. Who will go to preach to them if the pastors did not go to preach to them? So the pastors will take that challenge to go there and preach to them, encourage them, and God will bless them.
Having witnessed a number of prisoners rejected by their own family members and the society after release, Reverend David Kituku says that most often than not, rejection does more harm than good to the individual.
It is important once we start somebody has been incarcerated in a prison, that you get to understand that the law has taken its course. This person has been sentenced. He's serving the wrongs that he did to the society. And the only thing that you can be fair enough to do is to forgive that person, to accept, okay, he did it, he's serving his sentence, and once he has finished his sentence, let's not continue condemning him the more. People do change. Unlike animals, unlike other things, human beings are subject to change. And the power of God is able to transform even the worst of all sinners. So it is important that people accept to reconcile back with their kinsmen after they are released from the prison. It's very key. Prisoners are people too. They are people. They are human beings. And prison facilities were not meant or were not built for some individuals. All of us can be guests of the state. So you don't have to commit a crime to go there. I know like 40% of people in the prison did not commit the crime that they have been sentenced with. Yeah, though they are there, they are bitter, but they didn't commit that crime. They just found themselves right there. So when you fail to forgive such a person, when you brand them that they are ex-convicts or they are convicts, and you disregard them as fellow human beings, you are doing a lot of harm to these particular people. So I really pray that the society out there is going to receive these people even once they are released from the prison, open opportunities even for them. Some of them are very skilled carpenters, they are very skilled mechanics, they have also done even law. They have graduated with law degrees and other faculties. Please accept them back in the society, embrace them, they are your brothers, and encourage them also to change. And above all, love them. Love them. Love them as God loves them. As you do that, I believe you'll be doing the work of God. I will also encourage preachers to get involved in the whole of this process. Pastors, bishops, and churches. You can be involved either financially to support the people that are doing this business of reconciling and trying to reach out to the prisoners. You can also get involved personally by going there. There is an open door policy, approaching a prison near you and be going there to encourage them and to preach to them, and that will be so good. I can also encourage them to engage the church in supporting the prisoners. There are so many needs in the prison. Mobilize your members, let them go there, let them do whatever they can do, even if it is little, it can really bring a smile to the prisoners.
Dominic's story is a story of hope, and one that is so full of love, from God's love and mercy to the love that is so abound in our families. However, we acknowledge that this may not be an easy process for very many families because of the bitterness and anger. Now here's a word of advice from Reverend Edward Karanja.
It is a difficult situation. No matter, as a Christian, the first thing I'm going to tell you is this. It is important for you to work through that feeling. It's okay to be angry with the person. How could you kill my father? Face the person. Tell them how you feel. If you feel hatred in your heart right that moment, speak it out to them. Tell them how you feel. If you're thinking of any revenge, tell them what you're thinking about it. Speak it out. That way, it helps you now to start healing because you have agonized. Because the first stage here is to agonize over what they have done. Feel bad about the mistake. Asking yourself, how could you do that? How could you sink low to such like a position to the point of killing a family member? How could you do that? How could you steal our father's cows and sell them? How could you, and it is the only cow the whole family was depending on, then you stole it and you sold it for peanuts. How could you do that? How could you have burned our family store of maize? And that is the maize that was going to pay for my education. The pain that you're feeling is okay to release it. And even your frustration towards the person, the disappointment towards the person, it is okay to express that pain that you're going through. Then, of course, the other thing, after that is good to realize, either they're in jail or whatever, realize that even if they get jailed for 10, 20, 30 years, it will not reverse the situation. It will not reverse the situation. I remember like this particular family that was saying, no, justice needs to be served from our brother. Our brother deserves justice even in his grave. The wife needs to be jailed. And I'm like, fine. But even if she's jailed for 100 years, will your brother come back to life? Will your son come back to life? They cannot be able to come back to life. So it is important for you to be able to look through into that situation and ask yourself, even if this pain is inflicted in them, will it reverse the current situation? My beloved in the Lord, it is important for us to embrace forgiveness. So when you get to that, remember Jesus saying, forgive 70 times, 77 times. It is easier said than hard. But then, what will heal your heart, the one that you're feeling, you are the one that has been wronged. You are the victim of this pain. What will relieve your heart of the pain is when you agonize, then you realize even if they are punished, change the situation, then you forgive. When you forgive them, it releases the entire pain and the burden in your heart. That is the beauty of forgiveness. Then once you have forgiven the person, then when they come back to the society, please the society before we condemn them, before we look at them as being evil and mad and bad. Let us look ourselves in the mirror. For those of us that could be standing on the moral pedestals of the society, ask ourselves, are we righteous ourselves? Have we been very good? Or is it only that we have not been caught in the act? Think of even those people that do very bad things. How could he have cheated on his wife? How could she have cheated on the husband? And we are all over in the society and the community condemning them. Is it because we ourselves are righteous? Or is it only that we have not been caught ourselves? When you look yourself in a mirror, before you stand on that judgment seat to condemn everyone else in the society, you look yourself in a mirror and say, Jesus Christ forgave me as I am. Not because I was good. He came and died for me, a sinner like I. It is an opportunity I have to also help this errant boy or girl to be able to be integrated back into society and give them a chance once again in life.
Criminologists have researched on the stigma associated with an ex-prisoner, a clear indication that the period of transition from custody to the community can be a very difficult one for offenders, especially with all the alertness and supervision one receives from the community. And the loss encountered, I mean loss of time, loss of employment, friends, a home, relationships, and so much more, a factor that causes recidivism to at least 2/3 of the released persons in Kenya. This is according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Now, it is quite important for the government and the society at large to change its attitude towards released offenders. Yes, I agree, let them face the consequences of their actions. Then afterwards, let's help them establish the will to lead a law-abiding and responsible life. Well, that is all we had for you tonight on Transforming Families. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep interacting with us on our socials. Tell us, what do you want to see us handle next? And definitely, we will. My name is Faith Kaulu. Till next time, goodbye.
Thank you.